So how do you make it inevitable that you succeed with the habits that you want to create in your life? How do you show up consistently and not have these be things you just do sometimes, but that you do all the time, that become automatic? That's really the point of a ritual, is it's something you do and you don't have to think about it. But in the beginning, it's going to take effort. It's not going to be a habit right away. Typically, it takes about 30 days for any habit that you want to install in your life to become automatic, to become something you don't have to think about. But if you haven't done this before, you might not know how to change your habits. So when you're thinking about creating a morning ritual, and if you haven't seen the first 2 videos on morning rituals, I encourage you to check those out right now. I'll post some links down below the video so you can look at those. And in them, I talk about my personal morning ritual, how morning rituals have absolutely changed my life, helped me take back control of my day, control of my life. And also, in the second video, I share with you how to design the perfect morning ritual for you. So definitely take a look at those. But in this video, we're going to talk about how to make it inevitable that you succeed in making this a habit. So the first thing you want to do is take control of your environment and utilize your environment for cues that remind you of doing your habit. So for the first 30 days, you might want to have a note written on your bathroom mirror that reminds you every day when you wake up to do your habit. For me personally, I like using a habit tracking app, and the one I use is called Momentum. And it's super simple, super clean interface, and it basically creates a streak that I don't want to break. So I see that streak and it builds every day, and I don't want to break that chain. So that's what I use. But whatever it is that you do, you want to set up your environment. It could just be a reminder on your phone, you know, it doesn't have to be something complicated, but set a reminder in your environment that makes it easier for you to remember. The second thing you want to do is hijack a current habit that you already have. So for me, my trigger for my morning ritual is taking my dog out in the morning. For you, that might be reading the news or picking up your phone or, you know, getting dressed in the morning or after your morning shower. Whatever it is, you want to pick something that you already do that you can stack that habit on top of. And it's going to be much easier if you design your morning ritual around something that you're already doing, and then you can kind of hijack that and take advantage of that energy that you've created. Next thing I want you to do with your morning ritual to ensure success is to take on a new identity. So I want you to let go of the old you that thinks, I don't show up, I can't trust myself, you know, I don't believe in myself, and start thinking about yourself in a new way. Start thinking about yourself as the type of person that shows up no matter what. The more you build that identity, the more you are going to, you know, increase the likelihood that you will follow through. And the way I ensure that I stay consistent and congruent with that identity is I do whatever I can, even if I can't do the whole thing that day. So some days I might not be able to do my whole morning ritual, but at least I can have a glass of water and, you know, take 10 deep breaths and think about what I'm grateful for. So that is something I have no excuses for not doing. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it ensures that I have an option for when things are absolutely crazy that also doesn't break my identity. So that is a really important piece. A lot of people, they have this identity that they feel like they're just not the type of person that follows through. And because they believe that about themselves, they never bother trying because it's not congruent with that identity of the person that doesn't do the work, that doesn't show up. So whatever it is that you need to do to make that a, you know, habit easy to do when times get crazy, I encourage you to do that so you are able to take on a new identity within yourself. The next thing I want you to do is to eat inspiration for breakfast. And I've said that in the last couple of videos, and I just want to reiterate that because it's so powerful. When you don't leave your motivation to chance, you are much more likely to be excited and to have energy and to have enthusiasm for your work, for your purpose, for your goals. When you just kind of wait for motivation to happen to you, it's outside of your control, and who knows when it'll happen. So you want to take that into your own hands and figure out what inspires you in the morning. Maybe that's a playlist that you like to listen to that gets you motivated. Maybe it's reading a spiritual text. Maybe it's watching a video from one of your favorite teachers or authors or speakers or whatever it is. Maybe it's watching a TED Talk. Find that thing that inspires you and make that a part of the way that you wake up, just like brushing your teeth. The next thing you want to do is create stakes for not following through. So if you really want to get serious about making a habit stick, you need to decide what are the stakes going to be for not doing this. Maybe you say that you're going to post this publicly and you're going to follow through on this goal for the next 30 days of doing this morning ritual practice. And if you don't, you're going to donate $100 to a charity that you don't believe in. Or you are going to do something publicly that you're not proud of. This is leveraging the shame mechanism that we all have within us. We don't want to let other people down. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the way you look at it, we usually don't want to let other people down more than we don't want to let ourselves down. And that's because humans, belong in tribes. We evolved in tribes. So we have this built-in desire to want to show up and be consistent for the things that we said we're going to do to other people or for other people. Otherwise, we're going to feel shame about that. So you can use that to your advantage to help you follow through with making this habit stick. If you really want to make this morning ritual stick, I encourage you to have a game plan for when you fall off. What are you going to do in the event or when the event happens? Because it's a high probability that something is going to happen where you're going to fall off and you're just going to have one of those days. So most people, when that happens, they'll think, oh, I failed, I screwed up, why should I even bother continuing? I already, didn't show up one of the days, and then that just kind of grows and you don't show up the next day or the next day, and you just kind of figure, why bother? But successful people, they have a game plan for when they fall off. They pick themselves back up and they keep going the next day, and they don't let those minor hiccups keep them down. So when you fall down, you need to know what you're going to do, how you're going to pick yourself back up in that event or when that event happens. Now, throughout this challenge of making this habit stick, I want to encourage you to reward yourself for those little milestones that you reach. In the first few days, when you've done your practice just 3 times maybe, I want you to take that time to acknowledge that and to celebrate that. Maybe go out and get yourself a drink, or get yourself something nice. Do something that celebrates those wins. We're much more likely to keep going when we celebrate our wins rather than just pass them over. And really pay attention to what's working and what's not working. If something's not working in your ritual, I encourage you to change it or tweak it and to see, what you need to modify in order to make it work for you. So in order to ensure that you are successful with your morning ritual, I want you to do 3 things. This is your roadmap to making it inevitable that you succeed. 1 is to design a ritual that you're excited about, that you would wake up really looking forward to, something that you feel like you get to do, not something you have to do. That is the most important thing. If you're just following what someone else told you you should do or is a good idea, you're not going to stick with it. you're not going to follow through on it. Step 2 is to really commit and figure out that trigger that makes it easier for you to follow through. So you want to hijack a current habit that you already have to make it much more likely that you're going to actually do this on a consistent basis. And then finally, get leverage on yourself. Figure out what stakes would be meaningful for you to follow through with this. That is your roadmap. I hope that you got some value out of this series. If you've been wanting to finally wake up excited about your life and feeling like you're waking up winning, then I invite you and encourage you to join us in the Morning Dominance course.